Amanda Reed, a 28-year-old nurse, sat in her cramped apartment, the dim light accentuating the stacks of bills and medical textbooks scattered across the table. Her life had been an uphill battle from the start. Raised in an orphanage, Amanda learned early that the only person she could truly rely on was herself. Determination had gotten her through nursing school, but now, as an adult, financial struggles and loneliness loomed larger than ever. Her frail health was a growing concern. Fatigue weighed her down, and dizzy spells had become more frequent. Amanda's gut told her she needed medical attention, but with no health insurance and mounting debts, she dismissed the thought. One more shift, she would tell herself, clinging to the hope that things would get better. That afternoon, as she sifted through job listings, her phone buzzed. The number on the screen was unfamiliar, but desperation propelled her to answer. "Hello, this is Amanda," she said cautiously. "Good afternoon," came a clipped, authoritative voice. "My name is Evelyn Carter. I'm calling because my husband, Richard, requires immediate medical care at home. Your name came highly recommended. Would you be available to meet for an interview today?" Amanda blinked in surprise. She couldn't recall applying for such a position. Nevertheless, the urgency in Evelyn's tone and her own financial predicament made her decision easy. "Yes, of course. I can come this afternoon," she replied. Several hours later, Amanda stood before the imposing gates of the Carter estate. The grandeur of the mansion left her momentarily speechless. She adjusted her bag nervously before ringing the doorbell. Evelyn Carter answered, her appearance as polished as her voice had been on the phone. With an air of cold efficiency, she gestured Amanda inside. "Richard has been diagnosed with a rare illness," Evelyn explained as they walked through the lavish home. "The doctors say he doesn't have long, but I suspect they exaggerate. I need someone competent to ensure his final days are comfortable." Her tone lacked any semblance of warmth. Amanda nodded, trying to mask her unease. Despite Evelyn's detached demeanor, Amanda's focus shifted to the task at hand. "May I see him now?" she asked. Evelyn led her to a spacious room at the far end of the house. Inside, Richard Carter lay on an oversized bed, his pale skin and labored breathing painting a grim picture. He looked like a man teetering on the edge of life. Instinct took over. Amanda rushed to his side and adjusted his position, checking his vitals with practiced precision. Richard gasped for air, his face contorted in pain. Acting quickly, Amanda administered a series of chest compressions and repositioned him to ease his breathing. After several tense moments, his breathing steadied. "Thank you," he rasped, his voice barely above a whisper. His eyes, though weary, locked onto hers with an expression of gratitude. "You're an angel." Evelyn stood by the door, her face a mixture of shock and irritation. "Well," she said stiffly, "it seems you know what you're doing. Richard will insist on keeping you now." "Indeed," Richard nodded weakly. "I want her as my nurse," he said firmly, though his voice betrayed his frailty. Amanda's employment began that day, but as she settled into her new role, she couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that Evelyn Carter's concern for her husband was more performance than genuine care. In the weeks that followed, Amanda Reed immersed herself in the routine of caring for Richard Carter. Her modest guest room was a far cry from the luxury of the Carter mansion, but Amanda hardly noticed. Her focus was entirely on Richard, whose fragile health demanded constant attention. Each day, she meticulously monitored his vitals, administered medications, and adjusted his surroundings to ensure his comfort. Despite the unrelenting work, Amanda found solace in her purpose. Richard, though physically weak, possessed a sharp mind and a warm heart. Conversations with him quickly became the highlight of Amanda's day. They shared stories, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection that deepened their connection. Amanda found herself opening up about her struggles, from her childhood in the orphanage to the financial hardships that had brought her to the Carter's door. Richard listened with genuine empathy, offering kind words that often left Amanda feeling lighter. "You're stronger than you realize," Richard told her one evening as they sat by the window, watching the sunset. "Strength isn't just about surviving. It's about caring for others when you're struggling yourself." Amanda was deeply moved by his words, but not everyone in the household shared Richard's appreciation for her efforts. Evelyn Carter's demeanor grew colder with each passing day. She scrutinized Amanda's every action, offering harsh critiques that often felt more like personal attacks than constructive feedback. "You're overstepping," Evelyn snapped one morning after Amanda adjusted Richard's meal plan. "I decide what's best for my husband." Amanda's suspicions about Evelyn's motives began to grow. She couldn't ignore the discrepancies she noticed in Richard's care. Unmarked vials appearing among his medications, meals that seemed more harmful than nourishing. Evelyn's interest in controlling the household seemed to outweigh her concern for her husband's recovery. One evening, as Amanda prepared Richard's evening dose, her hands froze when she spotted an unfamiliar vial among the medications. It was unmarked and didn't match any of the prescriptions in Richard's regimen. Alarm bells rang in her mind. "Mr. Carter," Amanda said carefully, holding up the vial, "this isn't part of your prescribed treatment. Do you know what it is?" Richard's face darkened as he examined the small bottle. "No," he replied, his voice weak but resolute. "I've never seen it before. Please, Amanda, be careful. I trust you to look out for me." Amanda discreetly pocketed the vial, her mind racing. She couldn't accuse Evelyn outright without evidence, but she knew she needed to act. That night, as the household fell silent, Amanda sat in her room researching the vial's contents. Her growing concern for Richard's safety fueled her determination to uncover the truth. The bond between Amanda and Richard deepened as the days turned into weeks. His trust in her was unwavering, and Amanda's resolve to protect him became stronger with each passing moment. While Evelyn's hostility continued to escalate, Amanda found solace in her connection with Richard, who often reassured her with his calm and steady presence. "You're like the daughter I never had," Richard said one day, his voice tinged with both gratitude and sorrow. Amanda's heart ached at his words, but she couldn't help but feel honored by his sentiment. As Amanda's investigation into the mysterious vial progressed, she uncovered troubling information. The substance it contained was harmful, especially for someone in Richard's condition. Her suspicions about Evelyn's intentions solidified, but she knew confronting her directly could put both her and Richard at risk. Determined to safeguard Richard's well-being, Amanda took her findings to his primary physician, Dr. Harris. The doctor, alarmed by the evidence, promised to address the issue discreetly. "You've done the right thing bringing this to me," he assured Amanda. "We'll ensure Mr. Carter receives the care he needs." Amanda's decision to involve Dr. Harris marked a turning point in her journey with the Carters. Though she remained vigilant, the knowledge that she wasn't alone in her efforts brought her a measure of relief. Her bond with Richard, forged through adversity, gave her the strength to persevere, even as Evelyn's antagonism continued to cast a shadow over the household. One evening, as Amanda and Richard shared another quiet moment, he reached out to take her hand. "Amanda," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "I don't know how much time I have left, but I want you to know how much you mean to me. You've given me something Evelyn never could, genuine care and compassion." Amanda squeezed his hand, her eyes welling with tears. "You mean a lot to me too, Mr. Carter. I promise I'll always look out for you." As Richard drifted off to sleep that night, Amanda resolved to see her commitment through to the end. No matter what challenges lay ahead, she would protect the man who had come to mean so much to her. In the face of hostility and uncertainty, their bond remained a beacon of hope and strength. One morning, Richard Carter called Amanda Reed into his room. His frail body rested against a pile of pillows, but his eyes were sharp with urgency. "Amanda," he began, his voice trembling, "I need you to do something for me. It may sound strange, but I'm asking you to pretend to be my daughter. Just for one day." Amanda froze, confusion etched on her face. "Why would you ask that?" she asked gently, stepping closer to him. Richard's voice softened, but his tone remained serious. "Evelyn has been pressuring me to change my will. She's only after my fortune. If anything happens to me, I need someone I trust to ensure my true wishes are honored." The weight of his words sank in. Though hesitant, Amanda met his gaze and nodded. "I'll do whatever it takes to help you," she promised. Later that day, Evelyn burst into Richard's room, her heels clicking loudly against the polished floor. She was followed closely by a lawyer carrying a briefcase. "Richard," she said with feigned sweetness, It's time to finalize your estate. Summoning his remaining strength, Richard straightened slightly and gestured toward Amanda. This is my daughter, Emily, he announced firmly. His words hung in the air like a bombshell. Evelyn's face contorted with disbelief and fury. What nonsense is this? She snapped. You don't have a daughter. Ignoring her, Richard handed Amanda a sealed envelope. Emily, take this to my attorney immediately, he instructed. His voice carried a strength Amanda hadn't heard in weeks. It contains everything you need to secure my legacy. Amanda's heart pounded as she took the envelope and left the room, Evelyn's protests echoing behind her. She hurried out of the mansion and drove to Richard's attorney's office. The lawyer, a kind-faced man named Mr. Langston, listened intently as Amanda explained the situation. Don't worry, Mr. Langston assured her after reviewing the documents. These papers will protect Richard's wishes. I'll ensure everything is handled properly. Relieved but still anxious, Amanda returned to the mansion. Chaos greeted her as she stepped through the front door. Evelyn's shrill voice carried down the hallway, and the staff moved about nervously. Amanda rushed to Richard's room and found him gasping for air, his condition deteriorating rapidly. What happened? Amanda demanded, her voice breaking. Evelyn stood at the foot of the bed, her arms crossed. This is your fault, she spat. You've overstepped, and now look at him. Ignoring Evelyn, Amanda moved to Richard's side and began administering emergency care. His breathing stabilized, but it was clear he was in critical condition. Evelyn's accusations continued, but Amanda blocked them out, her focus solely on Richard. After ensuring Richard was stable, Amanda turned to Evelyn, her voice calm but firm. He needs proper care, and you've done enough harm. I'm not leaving him. Evelyn's eyes narrowed, but she didn't respond. She stormed out of the room, leaving Amanda alone with Richard. Thank you, he whispered, his voice barely audible. The next few days were a blur of tension and vigilance. Amanda stayed by Richard's side, refusing to let him out of her sight. Meanwhile, Mr. Langston worked tirelessly behind the scenes to secure Richard's estate. Evelyn, sensing her grip on the situation slipping, grew more desperate and confrontational. One afternoon, Evelyn confronted Amanda in the hallway. You think you can waltz in here and play the hero? She sneered. You're just a nurse. Don't forget your place. Amanda's expression didn't waver. My place is ensuring Richard gets the care he deserves, she replied evenly. That's all that matters. Evelyn's face twisted with anger, but before she could respond, a knock at the door interrupted them. Mr. Langston entered, accompanied by law enforcement officers. Mrs. Carter, Mr. Langston began, his tone measured. We have evidence of misconduct regarding Mr. Carter's estate. I'm afraid we'll need you to come with us for questioning. Evelyn's protests were loud and dramatic, but they fell on deaf ears. As she was escorted out, Amanda felt a wave of relief. For the first time since stepping into the Carter mansion, she sensed a glimmer of hope. Richard, though weak, smiled faintly when Amanda told him what had happened. You've done more for me than I could ever repay, he said, his voice trembling with emotion. Thank you, Amanda. Over the following weeks, Richard's condition improved slightly under Amanda's dedicated care. Evelyn's absence brought a sense of peace to the household, and the staff, once wary, began to trust Amanda. Despite the progress, Amanda knew Richard's time was limited. One evening, as they sat together in his room, Richard reached for Amanda's hand. You've been like family to me, he said softly. I want you to know that whatever happens, you've made my final days brighter. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. It's been an honor to care for you, she replied. You've given me more than you realize. When Richard passed away peacefully a few days later, Amanda was heartbroken but comforted by the knowledge that she had fulfilled his final wish. At the reading of his will, Amanda learned that Richard had left her a significant portion of his estate. More than that, he had written her a letter. Dear Amanda, you were my light in the darkness, my strength when I had none. You showed me what it means to be truly cared for, and for that, I am eternally grateful. Use this gift to pursue the dreams you've sacrificed for others. I hope you find the happiness you so deeply deserve. With love, Richard. Amanda's tears fell freely as she read his words. The man she had come to see as family had given her a new chance at life. With Richard's legacy, Amanda opened a clinic to provide care for those in need, honoring his memory with every patient she helped. Though their time together had been brief, the bond they shared would stay with her forever. Richard's condition stabilized after Amanda's swift and decisive care, but she knew his time was running out. Each passing day was a reminder of how fragile life was, and yet Richard's resolve to ensure his legacy was protected seemed to give him strength. Evelyn's control over the household waned as Amanda and Richard worked quietly with his attorney, Mr. Langston, to finalize his affairs. The turning point came when Mr. Langston arrived at the mansion with law enforcement officers. The documents Amanda had delivered contained damning evidence of Evelyn's attempts to manipulate Richard's estate. Her schemes, which included financial misconduct and plans to divert the entirety of his fortune, were laid bare. Evelyn was taken from the mansion, her protests loud and indignant. "This is a misunderstanding," she shouted. "I've done nothing wrong." Mr. Langston, ever calm, responded, "The evidence speaks for itself, Mrs. Carter. You'll have your chance to explain in court." Amanda watched the scene unfold with mixed emotions. Though relieved to see Evelyn's hold over Richard finally broken, the ugliness of it all left a bitter taste. She turned her attention to Richard, who sat quietly in his room, a faint smile on his face. "You've given me more than care," he said softly when Amanda joined him. "You've given me hope. Hope that kindness still exists, even in a world filled with greed." Amanda felt a lump in her throat. "It's been an honor to help you, Mr. Carter," she replied. "You've given me hope, too." With Evelyn gone, the mansion felt lighter, as if a dark cloud had lifted. The staff, once hesitant to engage, now treated Amanda with warmth and respect. They seemed to recognize her genuine care for Richard, and for the first time, the household began to feel like a home. As Richard's health continued to decline, Amanda remained by his side. She adjusted his medications, read to him, and shared stories to ease his mind. One evening, as they watched the sunset from his bedroom window, Richard reached for her hand. "Amanda," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "you've been like a daughter to me. I wish I had found you sooner." Tears welled in Amanda's eyes. "You've been like family to me, too," she said. "I'm so grateful to have known you." Richard's condition worsened over the following days. Amanda's heart ached as she saw him slipping away, but she took solace in knowing she had done everything possible to make his final days comfortable and dignified. When Richard passed peacefully one quiet morning, Amanda felt both heartbreak and gratitude. She had fulfilled his final wish and ensured his legacy was safe. The reading of Richard's will was a solemn yet profound moment. The gathered attendees, a mix of family members, staff, and close associates, listened intently as Mr. Langston detailed Richard's final directives. Amanda, sitting quietly in the back, was taken aback when her name was mentioned. To Amanda Reed, Mr. Langston read, "I leave a significant portion of my estate. This includes a financial sum intended to support her in pursuing the dreams she has sacrificed for others." Gasps filled the room, but Mr. Langston continued, "Amanda was my light in my darkest hours. She showed me that family isn't always about blood, but about the bonds we choose to form. She deserves happiness, and I hope this gift helps her find it." Amanda's hands trembled as tears streamed down her face. She had never expected anything beyond the privilege of caring for Richard, but his gesture spoke volumes about the trust and affection they had shared. In addition to the financial inheritance, Richard had left Amanda a letter. "Dear Amanda, you were my angel in my darkest hours. You taught me that family isn't always about blood. Thank you for everything. I hope this gift helps you achieve all the dreams you've sacrificed for others. You deserve happiness. With love, Richard." The letter became Amanda's most cherished possession. It was a reminder of the profound impact one person could have on another's life and a symbol of the connection they had forged. With Richard's legacy, Amanda made a decision that would honor his memory. She used a portion of the inheritance to open a community health clinic, providing free and affordable care to those in need. The clinic, named the Carter Wellness Center, became a beacon of hope for the underserved. Amanda threw herself into the work, channeling her grief into something meaningful. She hired a dedicated staff, many of whom shared her vision for compassionate care. The clinic offered medical services, mental health support, and outreach programs that touched countless lives. As word of the Carter Wellness Center spread, Amanda found herself in the spotlight. Invitations to speak at conferences and events poured in, and she used these opportunities to advocate for accessible healthcare. Each time she spoke, she shared Richard's story, a tale of resilience, kindness, and the transformative power of human connection. One evening, after a particularly long day at the clinic, Amanda sat alone in her office. The walls were adorned with photos of smiling patients and staff, a testament to the lives the clinic had touched. She picked up Richard's letter, running her fingers over the words she had read countless times. "I hope you find the happiness you so deeply deserve." Amanda smiled through her tears. She had found happiness, not in wealth or recognition, but in the knowledge that she was making a difference. Richard's faith in her had given her the courage to dream again, and his memory continued to guide her. Years later, at the clinic's anniversary celebration, Amanda stood before a crowd of supporters, patients, and staff. She spoke of Richard's generosity and the lessons he had taught her. Richard Carter believed in kindness, in fighting for what's right, and in leaving the world better than he found it, she said. "This clinic is his legacy, and I am honored to carry it forward." The applause that followed was deafening, but Amanda's thoughts were with Richard. She hoped he was watching, proud of what they had built together. In the end, Richard's story wasn't just about wealth or power. It was about the connections that define us, the love we share, and the courage to trust others with our dreams. For Amanda, it was a story of justice, new beginnings, and the enduring impact of a single act of kindness. With Richard Carter's legacy, Amanda Reed embraced a newfound purpose. The substantial inheritance and the profound lessons she had learned from Richard inspired her to create something meaningful. She decided to open a clinic that would provide free and affordable health care to underserved communities, a dream Richard had often spoken about during their quiet moments together. Naming it the Carter Wellness Center, Amanda dedicated it to honoring the man who had changed her life. The grand opening of the Carter Wellness Center was a moment of triumph and reflection for Amanda. As she stood on the steps of the clinic, the building's sleek yet inviting facade shining in the sunlight, a wave of gratitude washed over her. The crowd before her, community members, healthcare professionals, and even former Carter household staff, represented the lives Richard's legacy would touch. Amanda's heart swelled with pride as she spoke to the audience. "This clinic isn't just about healthcare," she said. "It's about hope, compassion, and the power of human connection." Richard Carter believed in giving back, in creating a world where kindness prevails. This center is his vision, and I am honored to bring it to life. The applause was thunderous, but Amanda's thoughts were with Richard. She hoped he would be proud of what they had accomplished together. The clinic quickly became a beacon of hope for the community. Offering services that ranged from routine checkups to mental health support, the Carter Wellness Center filled a critical gap in the area. Amanda worked tirelessly, often pulling long hours to ensure the clinic ran smoothly. Her dedication was contagious, inspiring her staff to approach their work with the same passion. One of Amanda's favorite moments was meeting patients whose lives were transformed by the clinic services. She remembered a young boy named Liam, who had been battling asthma without proper medication. After receiving care at the clinic, Liam's condition improved dramatically. His mother, with tears in her eyes, thanked Amanda. "You've given my son a future," she said. "We'll never forget this." Encounters like these reminded Amanda of why she had taken this path. Richard's belief in her, and his desire to leave a lasting impact, had become the foundation of her life's work. Beyond her work at the clinic, Amanda's story captured the attention of a wider audience. Invitations to speak at healthcare conferences and community events poured in. Amanda initially hesitated, unsure if she could step into the spotlight, but each time she spoke, she thought of Richard's unwavering confidence in her. At one such conference, Amanda shared her journey. "Richard Carter taught me that family isn't defined by blood, but by the connections we choose to nurture," she said. "He gave me the courage to stand up for what's right and to believe in the power of kindness. This clinic is a testament to his generosity and vision." Her words resonated deeply with the audience. Healthcare professionals approached her afterward, eager to learn from her model. Some even offered to partner with the Carter Wellness Center to expand its reach. Despite her growing recognition, Amanda remained grounded. Her days were still filled with patient care, staff meetings, and moments of quiet reflection in her office. On one such evening, as she reviewed patient files, Amanda came across a letter she had received from Richard. She had read it countless times, but its words never lost their impact. "You were my angel in my darkest hours," the letter read. "You taught me that kindness and compassion can overcome even the greatest adversities. I hope this gift helps you achieve the dreams you've sacrificed for others. You deserve happiness." Amanda's fingers traced the words, her eyes brimming with tears. Richard's faith in her had been unwavering, and she vowed to honor his memory every day. Years passed, and the Carter Wellness Center flourished. Amanda expanded its services, adding a mobile clinic to reach remote areas and launching educational programs to promote preventive care. The clinic's impact grew, earning recognition from both local and national organizations. One day, Amanda received a letter from a young woman named Clara. Clara had been a patient at the clinic and credited it with saving her life. "Your kindness gave me the strength to rebuild my life," Clara wrote. "I'm now studying to become a nurse because I want to help others the way you helped me." Reading Clara's words filled Amanda with a profound sense of fulfillment. Richard's vision had not only transformed her life, but was now inspiring others to create ripples of change. The clinic's 10th anniversary was a celebration of all it had accomplished. Amanda stood before a crowd of supporters, patients, and staff, reflecting on the journey that had brought them there. "This clinic began as a dream," she said. "A dream sparked by Richard Carter's generosity and belief in the power of compassion. Over the years, we've touched countless lives, but this is only the beginning. Together, we'll continue to build a world where kindness and care are accessible to all." The applause was deafening, but Amanda's thoughts turned inward. She silently thanked Richard for the gift of his trust and the lessons he had taught her. His presence, though absent, felt deeply woven into every success she achieved. In the quiet moments after the celebration, Amanda walked through the clinic's halls, her footsteps echoing softly. The walls were adorned with photos of patients and staff, each image a testament to the lives the clinic had touched. She paused at a plaque near the entrance, engraved with the words, "In honor of Richard Carter, whose legacy reminds us that kindness and courage can change the world." Amanda's heart swelled with gratitude. The Carter Wellness Center wasn't just a clinic. It was a living embodiment of Richard's ideals and the bond they had shared. For Amanda, it was a reminder that even in the face of loss, hope could flourish. Her journey with Richard had taught her that life's most meaningful connections often come from unexpected places. It had shown her that standing up for what's right, no matter how difficult, could create lasting change. And it had reaffirmed her belief in the enduring power of kindness. Amanda's life, once defined by struggle, had become one of purpose and fulfillment. She had found her family not in blood, but in the community she served and the legacy she carried forward. As she stepped out into the night, the stars above seemed to shine brighter, a quiet reminder of the man who had believed in her when she needed it most. In the end, Amanda's journey wasn't just about fulfilling Richard's final wish. It was about discovering the boundless potential within herself and the hope that lies in every act of compassion.